Hello and good day. Welcome to today's stock market analysis. We'll also be looking at some KLCI stocks. Some stocks of interest. There are a lot of people are interested in some from my friends who requested some analysis. So let's start with looking at the KLCI, this daily chart of the KLCI. Just like many other world market indexes, it has there's been a lot of sell-off right from around February to March. There's a very drastic sell-off. Now it was in a very bearish environment, and if you have followed my analysis, you have noted that I've stated that it was in quite a bearish mode in the past because it was below the 200 moving average, 50 moving average, and 20-day moving average. So this sets up a very bearish environment, and naturally the political environment and also the coronavirus has affected the economy quite a lot. So there was a very fast sell-off, and then we have a quick bounce up along with the rest of the world market. And right now the KLCI has formed what we call a variation of the cup with handle pattern. I don't know whether you can see it or not, so let me just draw it. Okay.
Where is this one?
Vitamin C and Bion. Oops. Okay, there we have it. A variation of the cup with handle. So the KLCI has broken above the this handle here, and is still hovering above the top of this handle. So as long as it stays on top of this handle type of, I think it will continue to trade sideways and eventually drift higher. But if it drops below this handle here, below here, then we might see a retest of the prior low. Let's take a look at KLCI from a weekly point of view. Just remove all the drawings. Okay, from a weekly point of view, the KLCI had a very drastic sell-off, and then there's the presence of a bottoming tail. And usually bottoming tails can appear when the market wants to bottom. Many a times in the past, in stocks and also the indexes, there are a lot of them that bottom with a weekly bottoming tail. So as long as the KLCI stays above the low of this bottoming tail, then we really might have found a bottom. Okay, but we don't know how smooth it will go back up. But this bottoming tail gives us a reference, and it's good for us to take into consideration this weekly bottoming tail. And then we move into the monthly chart. You can see that the monthly chart sell-off is quite drastic also. Right? Let's go back to the 60-minute chart. In the 60-minute chart, the KLCI has broken out of what I call a 60-minute ascending triangle, and the top of this pattern will be a support area, and as long as the KLCI stays above the top here, then most likely will drift sideways and then move higher. But on the other hand, if the KLCI drops below this lower uptrend line, it might signal pattern failure and weaknesses, and we might see lower prices for the KLCI. So let's look at some stocks. First, Maybank, Malaysian banking Berhad. Okay, Maybank, the price of Maybank, it has gone down and then bottom up. It looks like a gap here, but I think it's a dividend, so that's why there's a gap down here. But what I wanted to point out to you is that this is a 60-minute chart of Maybank. It broke out of a ascending triangle some time ago, and which is why it rise. The chart is a bit distorted here, so I don't have any other subscription to I don't have subscription to the Malaysian stock here. So the dividend here is causing the price to be a bit different. But if you have this, the correct chart, top of the ascending triangle will be the support area, and as long as Maybank stays above this area, then I think it has already bottomed out, and eventually, no matter what it does, trade sideways, it eventually go up. That's provided as long as it stays above the top of this triangle. Next, let's take a look at CIMB. CIMB also have a big sell offer, and looking at the weekly chart is still in the downtrend. Daily chart, so I think CIMB might also have bottom here. So as long as it stays above the low here, about 3.08, then we might have already seen a bottom, but it's a bit weak compared to Maybank. It's trying to go back above the 20 MA, and this trading range here, if we can break above this trading range, then it might go higher and move to the 50 MA. Let's take a look at Dayang. Another stock that has fallen quite a lot, and fallen quite a lot, try to bounce up, and some resistance over here. In the past here, there's this congestion area acts as a resistance area, which is why it's a bit difficult for it to go up. But if you look at a 60-minute chart, there is support in this area, and as long as Dayang is able to stay above this area, then it might reverse back up. Otherwise, if it breaks below this boxy area, let me just draw the box. Any box? Where is the box? Where is the box I want to draw? Top and bottom. I cannot find the box. Anyway, this support area from around 1.06 to 1.22, if the support cannot hold, then it's a possibility that Dayang might move lower, but if the support holds, then it might reverse back up. Then let's have a look at hibiscus. Now, hibiscus is another stock that has sold down quite a lot, quite getting oversold, and then it bounced back up. And at this moment, it's just trading sideways. And if it can stay above this area, this is a spot area. As long as it stays above this support area, then it's going to trade sideways, and eventually, hopefully, it can break out higher. But if this support does not hold, then it's most probably going to go down. So this is a 60-minute chart. You know it by looking at this. This is a 1-hour chart. Next, let's look at AirAsia. AirAsia is an airline stock, and as we know, airline stocks are getting hammered left, right, and center, not only in Malaysia but also in the US and other countries, because lots of cancellation, nobody wants to travel. And let's go back to the daily chart. D is for daily. Below declining 200 MA, below declining 50 MA, bearish mode, so still not out of the woods yet. Probably gonna drop back below 20 MA as well. So all three moving average declining points to not a very bullish outlook, very bearish. And sell off, bounce up, but hit the 200 MA, 60-minute 200 MA resistance, and just couldn't go above it. And then it went below the 20 MA, 50 MA, had a bearish cross here, and now in a 60-minute bearish trend. So this is area to watch. If AirAsia cannot stay above this area, most likely gonna drop. There's some support here, but if it continues to trade sideways and break down of this consolidation, it's most likely gonna go lower, maybe even challenge the low. Then let's look at JAKS. Okay, daily chart of JAKS had a very bad sell-off after it broke below the uptrend line and then slashed below the 200 moving average and hit an area of congestion support here, which is why it's able to bounce up. But after the bounce up, it hit the 200 MA, form a topping tail here as well, which tells us that the 200 MA is causing some resistance. So doesn't mean it will go down, but the 200 MA is still causing some problems for this stock. This is a 60-minute chart, And when I look at this area, right, it's trading sideways right now, trying to absorb the resistance from the daily 200 MA. So if it can stay above this area, trade sideways, and then break out of this sideways trading range, most likely it will go higher. But if it cannot stay above here and it drops below the 50 MA and then drops below this area, most likely it's gonna go lower again. And then SUPERMAX. SUPERMAX, and a stock that has a wild trading environment. So pretty wild. Doesn't give you any trend. Yeah, quite messy. Anyway, if we could draw a downtrend line here, if we can break above this downtrend line, right, and stay above this uptrend line, then most likely you will continue to trade sideways. And then Maybank, Maybank Resources. Okay, Maybank Resources. Quite a lot of interest in this stock lately as it broke out of this. You can see how it shot up higher after it broke this downtrend line. There's a lot of volume coming in here. So as it broke this downtrend line, there's quite a lot of volume coming in. So sometimes you can just draw a downtrend line, and when it breaks, when the stock breaks above the downtrend line, you want to see if there's buying interest or not. And buying interest you can see by looking at the volume. Oh, so much volume here, and then looks like it's gonna continue higher. The weekly chart, we have resistance here, previous high, but it's still going up. Daily chart still strong, still above the 20 MA, and I think it has, if it can stay above this low of this thing here, 0.18, most likely it will continue to move higher. So this is your reference point. So this is a 60-minute chart. You can see how this line is a daily downtrend line. After it broke up, there's a bullish cross, and above the 20 MA, above the 50 MA, and then it broke above here. Maybe we can just draw, you can call it a flag or whatever. So if Maybank can stay above this flag, so and above this low, most likely it will continue to go higher. But if it drops below here, this flag, then pattern failure, most likely will go back down. And then Straits into logistics. Straits into logistics, nasty downtrend, quite weak. This is some of the kind of stocks you don't want to touch. So we have a low here. Don't know whether bottom has set in or not. but you can see some previous congestion here, so probably support. There's support around here, support around this area, and if it can stay above this low here, 0.13, then perhaps it might trade sideways and go back up, but not a very strong stock, not something that you want to touch. And even if it goes back up here, if it goes back up, there is resistance around here, not a very nice stock. And then high O, high O, also in bearish downtrend. Recently broke down below this consolidation area, below 200 MA, below 50 MA, below 20 MA. Definitely not a stock you want to touch from now and sell off. Oversold, bounce up, went back above the 20 MA. So the reason why it bounced back up is because it's very oversold and it reaches a prior low area. So usually it happens when stocks sell off to a prior low area in the past. And this is a 60-minute chart. What we can do here is maybe just draw a trend line connecting the lows. This stock, if it bounce up, is just oversold bounce. So we have maybe a 60-minute ascending triangle pattern here. If it continues to break out, maybe it can move up, don't know, maybe 0.6, 1.6. But if it breaks below this lower uptrend line, then pattern failure, and it might break down and retest the low. So if it breaks out of that ascending triangle, 60-minute ascending triangle pattern type, it might go higher a bit, and then when it meets the 50 MA, there might be resistance. So quite a lot of Malaysian stocks you can see is oversold bounce up. So when you have oversold situation, usually you want to find some ascending triangle pattern, buy it and then sell it. Don't hold it for too long, because when a stock is in downtrend, usually they tend to have pressure in the mid-term and long-term and continue to go down. But if it's too oversold, there are opportunities to buy it for a short trade, holding a week or two. So that's high O. And Magnitech Industries. Magnitech Industry also had a nasty sell-off after it break below here. Sell off and then big sell-off here. An oversold bounce up, and it's kind of stalled here because there are quite some resistance here. You see this congestion area, so which is why it's not moving up as smooth as in the past. So resistance here need time to be absorbed. If you can trade sideways and break out higher, it might meet the 50 MA resistance and then the 200 MA resistance. But from a short-term point of view, you can see that in the 60-minute chart, it's in an uptrend. And trading sideways. This is a previous high support, and if Magnitech can break out of this area, the highest here, then it might go higher and meet the daily 50 MA resistance. But if it drops below the 60-minute 50 MA and this area, okay, this previous high 60-minute previous high. If it drops below it, then there'll be weaknesses and most likely start a new 60-minute downtrend and move lower. So there you have it. I just mentioned the support and resistance and some patterns. Hope it helps you. As you know, if you want to enter a stock, you need a trading strategy, not whether it's oversold or whatever. Because if you enter or exit a stock, right, without using any strategy, then it's going to be quite dangerous. So hope this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.